Hi. It is me, it is I, Small Town Didi, your Khadi on the internet, and I am back. Is terug, darlings. Oh wow. I haven't sat to just chat with you all in a bit like I've been doing Real Housewives reviews. You guys, I am working on looking at the camera. I roll my eyes a lot, just as a general thing. I just do. One of my friends once said to me, she had started a new job, and she's like, yeah, Didi, you wouldn't last in this field. Like, you'd roll your eyes at this lady and she'd fire you, like, at the new job, because that's just how much I roll my eyes. So I find myself every time I'm editing, I'm like, girl, you are not looking at the people. But practice makes perfect. Stay with me. I should get better. I mean, I'm not thick. The girl's bright. She'll get better. Why am I down here today, you ask? Oh, wow. I just have things not really weighing on me, but things that I thought I would figure out how to structure and come and chat, but I'm not finding a way to structure it. And I think it's because I suck at that. I suck at structure. Maybe I'll get better at it at some point in my life, but it's weighing on me to a degree. Because of the kind of content that I am fed and what I consume and stuff, and also the chats I'm having with my friends, what I see happening around me, the age group that I'm around and what's happening and stuff. Friends are getting married, others wanting that, feeling left behind, others wanting that and being ashamed to say that they desire that. How I got to the place where I am, because I'm pretty sure you've heard my takes on marriage and things like that in other videos, and you're like, oh, she's like off a fucking rocker. Is she gay? She's fine, clearly. I mean, I look hydrated, right? She's good for the most part. Loneliness. I think I want to talk about loneliness and womanhood, how I'm where I am, what I feel we should do as women in community, in our little pockets respectively, how people show up for me, how I've been able to get to the point I am of just being okay with not being partnered. I don't have the answers. I'm just gonna tell you what I think and give little bits of my journey. I am at a place in my life, and I have been here for a couple of years now. I'm just at a place in my life where companionship is not important. I do well alone. I'm working on other things. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But the thing is, this hasn't always been the case for me. So when I'm seeing the TikToks of the ladies who are crying, saying they're in their late 30s and they just thought by now they'd have a family and a spouse and things would be panning out as society says things should go, it breaks my heart. But what I've realized is that women like me who are in the space where we're very comfortable going at life alone, and life is this, right? It's not this. So I may be in this moment right now where I'm fine, right? And I'm more than fine. I'm rather happy doing things alone. I am actively repelling partnership, and well, I don't feel I'm actively repelling partnership, because where part of the reason I had to get to a point where I'm okay with being single and actually finding the journey to it has a lot to do with where I am. I'm in Limpopo. I think I say this all the time. I'm in Limpopo, in a very small township, and this township produces a certain kind of guy, and I find that maybe there's a speck here, speck there of a person that I haven't met. If I was able to come out of this township, surely there's another dude that came out of the same space with the kind of thinking that I have and stuff. But I haven't encountered such people. The droves of men that I encounter in this township has just been that they are what they are, and I find that I'm very incompatible, or we are incompatible. So I had to come to terms with a lot of things. I don't move around much because of the kind of work that I do. I find even when I make plans to have movement, I find that I need to change those plans and do whatever. So being situated in such a small place with the kind of access or the small pool the men I have access to, because I am unfortunately attracted to men. It's a disease, help me. But how I got here wasn't this. I wasn't just like, yeah, whatever. I did the crying. I did all the crying that I was supposed to do around feeling lonely. There is a loneliness that we experience as single women, and there's a phase of it where you are really chronically lonely, for lack of a better term. And it's in that space where you either make really bad decisions or you just see it through and you see what's on the other end of it. But the seeing it through, my village had to see me through that, and I put my girls through hell. I feel so bad of some of the conversations that I had to. I feel like I was dumping on them, like my insecurities, all my stuff. But I can't afford therapy, so like, what the fuck was I meant to do? I'm still sorry, friends. I remember calling one of my maids, standing in the kitchen, drinking wine, sobbing, just crying. And I'm saying to her, I'm asking her, we've been friends since we were little girls, so she's the one person who would know. I remember asking her to tell me what is wrong with me, right? Because our socialization as, you know, little girls into womanhood is to internalize things, right? If the boys don't like you, it's because you did something, you did whatever. Whereas you see with the boys, when women aren't responding to them, something is the matter with us, we turn it inward. So I needed her to tell me what is the matter with me. And I literally said to my friend, I mean, you can just tell me if I'm ugly, like, is that it? Like, it's okay to say it. Maybe I so badly needed to understand what was happening. Like, I needed to understand what was happening so bad because it hurt. Like, the loneliness was so, you guys, it was piercing. Like, it literally felt like a stab, like a constant jab. Like, it was so, and it was like loud, and oh my god, it was terrible. Like, it was the worst. I remember it was the phase in my life where I was asking friends to set me up on dates, and the quickness of it all, I don't know anybody, right? How quick everybody was like, but I see you with plenty somebodies in your pictures all the time. When you're out, you have people all around you all the time. They can't all be partnered, right? So then it's a me thing. There is I internalize that as, there must be something you're looking at me, and I am not sellable. I'm not a good sell. You don't know how to package me to make me desirable. Now, coupled with like the weight issues and everything that you go through, because you know all the men of the world, thanks to the internet, have now decided that they're only attracted to Lori Harvey. Like, all of them, they all are. And that's how you also get to some of like these conclusions where you're like, why the fuck am I vying for the affection of people who like have a mob thinking, like, mentality type thing? You'll think in a group. Like, one man got on the internet, wore a suit, told you all what you're attracted to, and you're running with it, right? Because you vie for each other's affection as men. You don't really bother yourselves to sit with yourselves and be like, hey, what do I really like? What do I really want? You let other men tell you what that looks like, because your manhood is very much determined by how other men validate it. Like, if another man doesn't rate your brand of manhood, then you start to question yourself. It's a very bizarre thing. I don't know how it works. I'm not interested, because I generally don't I don't rate men. I don't rate them for shit, which is how I arrived where I arrived, past moving the loneliness phase. But I was crying a lot. I was crying a lot of the time. But also what has me, again, my brain is all over the place, but stay with me. I reviewed the Real Housewives of Durban, right? On the channel, and I posted a clip on my TikTok. My name on TikTok is the same, Small Town Didi. You guys can follow me on there. I do other stuff on there aside from, I post clips from the things I post on here, but then I also do other, I stitch TikToks and just give my takes on other stuff, right? I posted that and I'm seeing a thread, like there's a trend in the comments of women saying, you know, when we're lonely, we just do this. And, you know, when you're thinking in love, you don't want to hear what other people are saying, even when like what you're seeing in front of you is not making sense. And then I'm realizing that we are still operating and making decisions from that like very low place. That is really like the root of it is fear. Fear of being alone, fear of dying alone, fear of what are people going to treat me like when I show up to things, you know, without a partner. What are people skinnering about me? You know, it's like you can't get away from those things. And I found that in that period of my loneliness, there was a point where I let a man into my space who just does not deserve access to me, because I just needed to distract from what was happening, like from sitting in that very loud, very consuming, very what is wrong with me kind of place. And I regret that. I was once friends with somebody who says that they don't regret anything, and I find that incredibly stupid, because the fact that they said that to me made sense as to why it is they're continuing the same pattern of behavior, especially in dating. Like they just date at the bottom. They love them some bottom feeders. Like they just love them like dudes, and they have the social capital to date here. So it was always so bizarre to me. And the day she said to me how her and her group of mates, we don't really have regrets. We just like, you know, you just move on and that's life. Then how the fuck do you know what lessons to take there and not to repeat that? That was so dumb. I regret letting that man in my space because it has altered how I operate. It's altered how I date. It altered me. Like having to deal with that person in that situation, the reasoning that I had to engage in just to get this person to understand where I'm coming from left me at such a low place that I could never go back there. I would rather die. Do you understand? I would rather die. Mind you, we don't know what happens on the other side, but I'd rather go there. Okay, I would. So when I posted that and I'm seeing that women are saying it's the loneliness thing, and I alluded to it in the TikTok myself. I was like, I feel like we're still making decisions from this place. And the other thing I feel is that we do that because not only do we not want to name things, it's Yana Vincent who always says like, name the thing. If you name the thing, it might scare you a bit. It's like, I'm lonely. Say it out loud. I said it, like I was like, I am lonely. I'm so lonely. I'm built for the fuzzies. Like my default, I love love. I really do. I root for it. I love a good wedding. I love a healthy relationship. I'm so very supportive of my friends' unions because I can see what the benefits of it. I can see how it's helpful to them. And that's why I support it. I have a difficult time supporting bullshit like relationships. I really do. If you're in these unions where I don't really understand why you're in it, you will know that I don't support your shit. That's just like, I can't support a relationship for the sake of it. And I suppose that's also why after letting that person into my space, I decided to just like go back to having the standards that I had and sticking to it. Also, I was rather young. I lost. Naming things. Name them, you guys. Name them and then sit in the discomfort of it and then ask the questions. That's the other thing I've realized about us as Black women from the kinds of communities, the community that I come from. You know, small township where like things are things. Like, of course you grow up and you get married and you have kids. While other groups of people and women from other groups seem to be sitting longer with these concepts, these constructs, and trying to deconstruct, I really understand how we arrive here and not just accepting them as the norm. We seem to be very eager to perpetuate just like, of course you want a man, do I? Because when I really sat with it and I realized that there are all these other things that I'm battling with, that are making me so unhappy, but I've made this the focus. For whatever reason, I have made this lack of companionship. It's not going to solve any of my other many problems, which are the things that I'm dealing with right now, that I've decentered all of this other. I sat with it and I'm just like, fine, I'm lonely. What happens here? And then I just sat there. I literally just experienced it. I didn't bother trying to go out to fill it with like being out and the noise, because when you're really, really lonely, being out in large crowds of people, for me, let me not say when you're really lonely. My experience was that being out in crowds of people and groove and whatever would just like make it worse. Because you know you don't want to be there. So every little thing that's happening there is so irritating. You don't want to be there. You thought, okay, if I leave home and then I don't sit in it, my loneliness that is, and I go out and there's like people and noise and I'm getting drunk and having fun, then I won't have to sit in this thing. It's worse. It was worse for me. I would have to experience loneliness in a crowd. That shit is the worst. You're so annoyed. You're a party pooper. You're fucking up the vibe for everybody. You're that girl that wants to be taken home. Like, can I just go home? Now there's an irritating dude because your mates, they're boys and they're like, your friends know you're going through a lot, but they guys. Like, they don't, like, the friends I have here at home, like, all my girlfriends are scattered about the place, right? So I'd be out to them and then they'll just be like, yeah, that guy says he like, and then you look at the guy, you're like, but guys, really that guy, that's the guy that you guys want. They don't know what to do. They just know you say you want somebody and it's like, here's somebody, okay, mid-groove, Nahal. It's like, I don't want to be shallowed at groove. Also, it's like, no, it was not helping you guys. It was not helpful. So then staying in it proved to be the better thing. And then I started to unpack just my relationship and my interactions with men over the years outside of romantic relationships. Just how men have engaged with me and how men have especially engaged with me when I'm around my attractive girlfriends. And just realizing that I am actively yearning and seeking for a type of man that does not fucking exist. Not where I am. Some of you are lucky, maybe you found that one, good for you, right? But I am actively sitting here crying, asking my friends, girl, just tell me if I'm like really, really ugly. Like, I mean, I know I'm an average looking girl. I just didn't know that like I'm repulsive and there's something about me that is like somehow reeking of like inherently undeserving of affection or something. I sat with that and I really looked around. That's where I arrived at this, girl, you are where you are. Because people keep telling me as well, you know, the people want to set you up, but not really. Yeah, it's where you at, girl. Like, you look like, it's just like people don't want to do long distance. Like, okay, I don't want to do long distance either, but that's not the fuck why. Like, you're not even trying to set me up with your loser friend. Like, and in my head, it's not because you think I deserve better. It's because you know your loser friend is gonna reject me because something is wrong with me. Because remember, like, you internalize it, everything's you. And I'm laughing, but I don't know why. Because like it was a sad period in my life. I cried a lot. I really did. I cried a lot about things that I was not in control of. I'm still in this very place, and I hate men. Like, I hate the men that I have to deal with. Like, going outside is like, oh my God, there are men out there. There are men out there. They're gonna wanna say hi, and I don't know why. And not even in a shillering you way. It's just a, ugh, don't be here. I'm sorry, I think it's because of how little I care about men. The internet has made me, the empath in me just died. How the language men use around the internet, the comment sections, and it's vile. I suppose that's why people are constantly telling us to get off the internet. But then you get off the internet and then you try to interact with people in everyday life, and then they on their Kevin, like Kevin Samuels shit, and then you're like, It's all the same. Do you understand? The kind of behavior men continue to engage in, not just on the internet but around me, the abandoning their children with lack of accountability, the whatever, has made like intersectional feminism a bit of a tricky situation for me as a person who's a feminist. I'm like, I would like to abandon those cause, like making men understand that protecting these or participating in these isms and things where you discriminate against and the misogyny and all of those things is to a degree to their detriment. Over the long haul, there's somewhere where you don't win, right? Breaking down concepts, making them understand what harm they endure as a result of patriarchy has become something that's none of my fucking business. I don't give a shit about the harm that men experience, because every time we've reached across the table to try and understand where they're coming from, we get hurt, right? When I take this back to when I've had to analyze how men have treated me and groups of other women whom they deem more attractive, just vile, just fucking disrespectful for no reason, just can't be decent, because I'm a thing, right? My whole function is to be attractive to you. You must find me fuckable. And the moment you don't find me fuckable, you must be so mean to me to communicate how undesirable I am to you and how I better not fucking think there's a chance. Why are you running with the idea that you're so fucking desirable and fuckable? Why are you running with that? Because I can tell you now, a lot of you actually aren't. Women are desperate and making decisions from that lonely place that I'm telling you about, and they think half a man is better than no man. And that's how some of you are actually getting by, right? And the moment we find the women come into themselves and they're like, but wait, like being lonely in partnership is far worse than experiencing loneliness alone, working through it and coming out to the end of it being like, I might actually do this life thing alone for a stretch. If I change my mind down the line, or if the feelings come back up where I want companionship, maybe I'll revisit this thing. But for now, I don't want to do this. I think we're all losing, just so I'm clear, right? When the study trended last year or earlier in the year, the psychologist guy who was talking about how there's a growing concern of like lonely men, and the women of the internet were cheering, we told you we're doing a whole lot better than you and whatever. We may be by that much, but to me, it's not a win. It's not a win because I've arrived at this place where I'm so focused on getting my other things that make me happy going, and those things are also consuming to me, and it's so stressful, and everything that needs to get done is like Everest large. It's a mammoth of a thing that I need to get done that's looking at me, that the idea of incorporating partnership into the mix of things I have going is just not something I desire right now. That's me. I'm here. And for the women who are here, we seem to not hold room for our sisters who still desire that thing. And I, as a woman who's saying, I don't want marriage, it's important for me to let you know that I hold room for the women who do, right? I wish a lot of you would spend enough time with these constructs though to ask yourselves, why do I want this? What is this? What is the reality of this? And when you've done all of that and you still arrive at a place where you're like, but I still want this, I will always support you in that. Right? I'm not right. I'm just right for Didi. I'm where I need to be right now, and I still want to hold room for other women to desire different from me, to desire what is the traditional constructs, and in their desire and pursuit for those things, I want them to get good quality men who are interested in building families and having these families that they say they want to have and stuff. I want that for them. So the idea that men are lonely and we think we're winning, nobody's winning here. Nobody's winning. The loneliness is going on both sides. We just happen to maybe have better coping skills than them. We really do. Like, very rarely, guys. I cannot remember the last time I thought a man would be nice right now. I really cannot remember the last time. Yet I remember the period in my life where when Sundays would slow down, my work generally slows down on a Sunday, and I would be sitting with a glass of wine. I would feel it. I would be like, oh my God, I would love to watch Batman with somebody right now. I want that. I want it so much it hurt. I can't imagine telling somebody who's in that space that I was and trying to dismiss of them, right? So when I talk about, when I say the things I say about the nonkos and you guys need to stop doing this with it comes from a place of care, and it doesn't always, I understand that it doesn't always, my coffee's gone cold. I can appreciate that my delivery does not always come across as like soft or well-intended. For a lot of people, they receive it in this judgment thing, and I think that lies in the fact that I feel like we don't spend enough time with these things. We don't even spend enough time asking ourselves what kind of man we want, which is how I arrived here again. I was like, but the things I'm saying I'm wanting, I don't see around me. What is this shit that I keep trying to say, oh, who the fuck wants to watch Batman with me on a Sunday afternoon and just chill? Like, I'm watching Batman, I cooked, I love to cook, right? You ate, you're happy because my food is fucking nice, right? I'm not washing the fucking dishes because I hate that. We're chilling here, we're having wine. And then I look around me, I'm like, no, the men in this community aren't even home with their fucking wives. They're at the car wash. It's Sunday. And then they are dressed in the nice clothes that their wives bought and ironed for them. And when they're done washing the cars, they are going to Sunday soul stations and they're gonna go home at 2 a.m. That's what my community produces. That's the quality men that my community, as long as he has a job, he can behave like this. The women themselves are sitting in their homes lonely as fuck. And when I say I'm desiring partnership, this is this level of partnership that my environment is offering me. I am not missing out on a fucking damn thing. I'm not. Not where I am right now. I'm not. But what is the point of this? Because I was all over the place with it. You must name things and you must sit in them. And the discomfort is part of life. We're not meant to be here and be in perpetual happiness. And it's also good and it's bliss. We're not winning. Nobody's winning. We're lonely. As people, we're lonely. There's something wrong. There is a bridge that needs to be built and it's not on me. The men who identify as feminists or the men who figure themselves to be like progressive, it's their jobs to make other men understand why it is you aren't connecting with women. Because let's be real, we've progressed a little far beyond them. And that's where that happens, because it often feels like we're dealing with children. It often feels like, is this not meant to be partnership because I'm carrying this shit on my fucking back? So I would rather like forgo the whole thing and go at it alone, and fine, there'll be a Sunday or two I feel like, fuck, this is kind of lonely. But for the most of the part, my week is eventful. My village is strong. My relationships, my girlfriends got my fucking back. That's the other thing that they don't have, why they experience like their loneliness peaks a little bit more than ours. We have intimacy in our relationships, at least I do. And that's the other discourse I'm seeing on the internet of women see, that's where, as a feminist, I would like to direct my energy. Girlfriends are important. All of this, oh, don't trust women, this and that, because you got burnt by a bitch that was never your friend. Because ignoring red flags works in like friendships as well. And that's not me putting it on you, right? But I couldn't get past through all of the things I just shared with you guys right now if not for my girlfriends. My guy friends don't know what to do. They just know that I'm not okay and they care about me and they're like, do you want wine? Like, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to tell me to read. They don't have a podcast to send me. They don't have a video essay to send me to help me understand why it is. They don't. They just know they love you and that you're a little sad right now. That's it. That's all my guy friends. My brother too, it's like, he just knows I'm sad. I see how stressed he gets when I'm not okay because he knows he doesn't have the tools to fix it, and it breaks my heart. I try to avoid looking at him when I'm not okay, when he knows I'm not okay, because he just looks sad and helpless. It's so heartbreaking. But it's like, I've tried with these very men in my life to make them understand where they're going wrong, to make them be like, listen, you and your wife aren't finding each other because you are outside with your friends, and they will continue to defend things that are to their detriment, and it becomes a headache for me, and I don't want to do it, so somebody else needs to do that. I just need to encourage the girls to stay in community with their good girlfriends. Those relationships are worth watering. They're worth everything. They are going to get you through these things. Call somebody, talk about when you are going through things, name the things, sit in them, work through them, fill those spaces with other things that are of value, those good quality friendships. Learn how to cook, pick up knitting, go for walks. I love walks. Find things that you loved, that you've let go because you're so fixated on being partnered. There are plenty of things that you like to do as a child or even in your grown years, but you've pushed aside and you no longer spend time with those things because you must just have a man, and you're so fixated on trying to fill the space. And it is important, it really is, but you need to be strategic and grounded in how you go about searching for partnership. It's not this thing that's just gonna happen to you. You must make that list. I was on a walk with one of my guy friends a week or so ago, and I was saying to him that part of how I got to here, how I realized that the men I want on here is by listing those things. Another thing one of my good friends told me, she got married about 2 years ago, a year ago or so. It was a year last year, the other December. So anyway, she got married and she is a woman of faith and stuff, and I've asked her how she's an attractive woman, so she's always had people pursuing her, and I've asked her how she kept from allowing things or men in her space, and she said to me that she prayed about it. She told God that this is what she requires. She also trusted that God would give her the things that God seems suitable for her. And so when people would come to her pursuing her and they didn't meet this agreement she had with God, she simply wasn't swayed by them because, well, not simply, it takes some strength and faith on her part. She wasn't swayed because she and God had an agreement, right? And God delivered, right? If you are religious. If you're like me, I'm not. I have a list and I will not be shamed out of my standards. That's what you do when you're not religious. Us non-religious girlies can have these standards as well and not get shamed out of them. Write them down. Writing things down is very powerful. Write your things down and you will find that wanting to just fill that space with nothingness no longer fits. It simply doesn't fit. It's like a puzzle piece that doesn't go. Even when you try to give a loser a chance, it doesn't work with your energy anymore because you've put it out there already. You've said already, this is what I want. So when you're trying to like mismatch, or you will naturally find yourself just not being able to do it anymore. I don't have room. The guy I'm telling you guys about, he could never try to get with me right now. He just could fucking, he doesn't fit. I have no room in my life for him. He just will stick out like a fucking sore thumb, which he should have stuck out like in the first place, but we must learn our lessons, right? But do it, you guys. Write your lists, put them away, and live your life. Allow life to happen, right? I don't need to get preachy. I think I got preachy, but I think I just wanted to come. It's Sunday. Okay, I guess this is my Super Soul Sunday Oprah moment, and yeah, the loneliness thing is still gonna happen, right? It's just not gonna eat at you like it used to. You'll just have a random Sunday where you're like, I would have loved to do a market with somebody. Then you'll find yourself just going to get yourself some flowers, or doing something else that brings you joy, because it's all in you. It kind of is. Anyway, that's it, kiddo. Bye, Yella.